Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another creative sim video. As you can tell by the thumbnail and title, today I'm going to be creating sims inspired by Strawberry Shortcake and her friends. You guys have been asking for this for a very that's how we're starting it off today. You guys have been requesting this video for a very long time, so I am very happy to say that I'm finally delivering. There were quite a few different characters for me to choose from for this very first video, so I chose, of course, the main characters and then a couple of the other side-ish characters. If I'm unfamiliar with any characters that I'm recreating, I will use a wiki for their personality and all of that, and to just get an idea of what I want the sims to look like. So I'm so excited. Other than that, I want to thank you guys so much for 25,000 subscribers. That number just sounds absolutely insane coming out of my mouth. Today we are comfy and chill, okay? It took me like 3 days just to make the sims because I was being very particular about how I wanted them to look. So I'm so excited, and of course we're gonna get started with the leader of the show, Strawberry Shortcake. So Strawberry Shortcake is a character that was originally used in greeting cards when it was first introduced, but later expanded to dolls, figurines, clothing, and bedding even, as well as posters and numerous other merchandise items. So I can say for sure, when I was much younger, I did have some Strawberry Shortcake merch as well as like probably some bedding. In the 1980s was when Strawberry Shortcake jumped into animation, and the rest was history. Strawberry Shortcake, of course, is the main protagonist of the Strawberry Shortcake franchise. She is a sweet, kind, and helpful young girl with an extraordinary talent for baking and a knack for tending to berry plants. She's always ready to make new friends, go on adventures, and bake the world a better place, okay? So for each of the characters, I'm going to be talking mainly about their 1980s versus their 2003 versions. So first, of course, I'm going to talk about the 1980s versions and then the 2003 and see if there's any difference in their personalities. Strawberry Shortcake is a bright and perky young girl in the 1980s, kind and friendly, very supportive, and is always ready to help a friend in need. She loves strawberries and baking. She's very soft and sensitive, and considering her age in the time she was introduced, which I think it said around 6 years old, she often cries, which should be expected because she's a child. The wiki also stated that she does have a little bit of spunk to her, which again should be expected for a 6-year-old. I'm gonna fact check that real quick just to make sure. Why'd I press Chrome and then type in Chrome? Sometimes I don't know about myself. Okay, so it says in the 1980s, Strawberry is 6 years old. Her current age is implied that she's a teenager, young adult in the 2003 version. So yeah, it says she can drive a car, and she owns a shop called Berry Cafe. So she definitely is much younger in the 1980s version, and in the 2003 version, I don't know why I keep trying to say 2023. In the 2003 version, Strawberry Shortcake is athletic and enjoys playing sports and riding horses, but is also a creative baker at the same time. She also enjoys gardening, which is why there's a handful of large strawberries around her house. She's generally both a tomboy and a tomgirl, and is usually playing outside, but every once in a while she does enjoy dressing up and pretending to be a princess. So for each of the characters, you can see how their designs have changed throughout the years, and I will say I definitely am a fan of the 2003 and 2007 versions, depending on which character we're looking at. I'm going to include like each of the characters, how they changed throughout the years right before I go into making them, and of course I will always have a picture on the side to show you guys where I got a majority of my inspiration. I also use art and things like that for when I'm creating these sims, just so you know, okay? So if there's anything that doesn't look right, it's probably because it's from a different version, okay? I did pick a version that I like the most for all of the characters, and that was the 2003 versions, okay? I think 2003 or 2007, one of the two. The newest versions of each of these characters, the 2021 version, I'm not really a fan of. I will say a lot of them changed quite a bit visuals wise, but I'm a fan of like the 2003 2007 versions, okay? Just to clear the air. So more about the 2003 version of Strawberry Shortcake. She loves her sister and makes sure to give both of her pets an equal amount of love. Whenever there's a big event in Strawberry Land, you can bet that Strawberry Shortcake was the one who came up with the idea. So it just sounds like Strawberry Shortcake is a party planner as well. She just sounds like she's the life of the party, okay? She kind of gives off Pinkie Pie vibes. That's what Strawberry Shortcake is giving me from this description. So in the 2003 version, she's also very optimistic, which I'm sure she was optimistic in all the versions, but the wiki made sure to let us know that she likes music, singing, and dancing, and she always does both when she has the chance. She's also a very intelligent young girl and can quickly find the right solution whenever a problem arises. She's also curious and eager to try something new. She loves to travel and visit places she's never been before and makes friends with strangers. And like I stated earlier, in the newest version, she is much older and she has a job and all that. So next I'm going to be making Raspberry Tart. I really loved her character. I will say I didn't really like the outfit that I chose for her. If I'm to go back and do it, I may give her like a tennis skirt kind of look, but for the version that I used for inspiration, she was wearing like a sweatsuit, like a jogger set. So that's what I tried to give her. Now, so Raspberry Tart, or Raspberry Torte made her debut in the 1980s specials and is a major reoccurring character in the Strawberry Shortcake franchise. So in the 1980s version, Raspberry was mean at first, often making snarky and rude remarks, but learned to become nicer to the others in the end. And she also spoke with a quiet tone, which, how are you gonna be mean and speak with a quiet tone? Maybe they mean as in like whispers. I don't know, but that's what the wiki says. Versus the 2003 version of Raspberry, she's more outspoken. She has gone from her quiet tone, though she still remains sharp in her opinions of her predecessor. She sometimes can come off as sarcastic and is easily annoyed. She's often rude and cocky to most of the girls and is very stubborn. So she's really not that much different, if that's what I'm getting. But she does have a soft spot for Lemon, who is her best friend, and Strawberry eventually gets through to her by showing her that it pays off to be nicer. In my honest, humble opinion, okay, in my 28 years of life, I will say being nice goes a very long way. But in some instances, you cannot be nice, okay? I'm not telling you guys to go be mean to people, but you don't have to kill people with kindness if they're disrespectful to you. I will say that. You do not have to be nice to people who are rude to you. She loves to be active and hates sitting still. She's also very competitive and loves games. She'll often use her rough and tough demeanor to stand up for what's right. But yes, that is Raspberry Tart. For her design, of course, I definitely went for an athletic look. If you can't tell by now, I definitely want to give her like a crimped hairstyle look. I didn't have anything like that, so I gave her this really nice coily hair that I just downloaded. It just came out, okay? And I knew I had to use it for this credit sim. Moving on to my favorite character from the Strawberry Shortcake series, and that is Orange Blossom. No surprise there, but she's my favorite. Also, if you haven't noticed by now, these sims are not going to look exactly like the characters. I say this in just about every credit sim video, but I will always put my own spin on characters, as far as like changing a character who's not canonically black to a black character. That's just something that I do personally. I know a lot of black artists who also would draw a character who's not canonically black as black, just to show a little bit of more diversity. Not necessarily diversity, but like, we like to be able to see ourselves in these characters. And when you only have one character in an entire show with a range of different ethnicities, I guess having one just really isn't enough, you know? And I don't know if I'm going to include that part, but like, if you're black, you understand what I'm saying, okay? And if you're not black, then that's not something that you have to worry about because you're always going to be represented. Orange Blossom is the next character I'm going to be creating today, and I really love how she came out. So Orange Blossom is one of the main characters of the Strawberry Shortcake franchise, and she's also the best friend of Strawberry. The main reason why I definitely did want to change some of the looks of these characters was because I saw a piece of art where Strawberry Shortcake was a light-skinned black girl with locks, and Orange Blossom was a very dark-skinned thick girl with like kind of a 90s vibe to her. That's what she was giving off. So though her interests often change throughout the show, Orange Blossom is shown to be a very sweet character in all generations and a loyal friend, and also is very selfless. In 1980, she was stated to be very shy and downplaying her talent and beauty out of humbleness. Orange Blossom is very gentle with animals and plants and is described as a friend of the earth, but she cares deeply about taking care of the planet, which she kind of reminds me of Fluttershy, okay? Now that I'm reading the description, she's kind of giving off Fluttershy vibes. In her introduction in A Big Apple City, she's shown a little bit differently as a carefree girl who loves to paint. She was shown to have some level of silliness, has great hospitality, willing to help others whenever she gets the chance, and was also shown to be clumsy. Orange Blossom is a girl who has a lot to offer and is always trying to make others smile. She's a very happy girl, and so she just wants to spread love and joy to everyone around her. Rarely ever is she selfish, as she believes that as long as others are happy, she will be happy. I'm not sure if this description maybe is that accurate, but if it is, Orange Blossom is a people pleaser. She's a people pleaser. She sounds like someone who's willing to, oh yeah, I'm over here wearing my pajamas and stuff, getting all comfy like a grandma. Orange Blossom sounds like the person who's willing to give a lot of herself even when she may not have enough for herself, which is not very healthy. And to be honest, even if everyone around you is happy, that will not necessarily mean you're happy. Not in the sense of like, you know, you're unhappy with your life, so you can't be happy with everyone else, but as in like, you can't spend so much of your time trying to make everyone else around you happy, because chances are you're not going to be happy because you're not giving enough to yourself. You know what I mean? Not being selfish, but like giving yourself enough self-love. There you go. That's the word. that's what I'm looking for. So she's sweet and is never the one to cause a disagreement. She's also somewhat sensitive and is likely one of the first to pout and act shy when she is not happy. She happens to be one of the girls who is easier to upset, and she is often bursting into tears. Yeah, so she just sounds like a very sensitive girl. Nothing wrong with that. When she does cry, it's usually purely from emotions, not from bratty behavior. The wiki says, as in from raspberry tart or tea blossom. She has a hard time bringing up a disagreement, so she kind of has a hard time speaking up for herself. She tends to let people walk all over her and doesn't stand up for herself as often as she should, or as much as she would for her friends. So like I said, she's a people pleaser and she is kind of a doormat. If I'm incorrect, let me know. Like I said, I'm not familiar with this, so I'm just taking this wiki for what it is, okay? Out of all the girls though, Orange Blossom does seem to be the bravest. She sometimes rushes headfirst into situations without considering the consequences due to her loyalty to her friends. She can also be very stubborn once she has her mind set on something, but not as stubborn as Angel Cake, which kind of reminds me of myself. I'm not gonna lie. When I have my mind set to something, I'm gonna do it, and it doesn't matter what anyone else says about me or says to me about the situation. If I say I'm gonna try something, I'm gonna do it, and vice versa. If I'm not gonna do something, I'm not gonna do it. I'm actually pretty stubborn. She really wants to prove her worth, and sometimes this makes it hard for her to ask for help when she needs it, or when she's afraid, she doesn't speak up. Definitely sounds like me. Yeah, I feel like I'm being targeted. Anyway, despite general downsides to her behavior, Orange Blossom is a true friend and will help the berries out whenever she can. Whether it be advice, help, or just a shoulder to lean on, she is always there. She often refers to her creativity when in need of assistance and can make new things with a snap of a finger and has brilliant ideas. I hope you guys are doing so well. I do apologize that it took me this long to make these characters. Next, I'm going to be making a blueberry muffin, and oh my god, every time I think about blueberry muffins, I need some. I love them so much. They're so good. That's like my favorite muffin is blueberry muffins. Let me know in the comments if you like muffins. What's your favorite flavor? I love blueberry muffins. Blueberry Muffin is one of the main characters of Strawberry Shortcake. She's usually characterized as being very ditzy, such as her original incarnation, or as rather intelligent with a love for books. I definitely went based off of, I think it was a 2003 picture that I showed you guys before I started. She looked very studious. She looks like she may go to like a very prestigious school, but she always makes sure she is putting on her best outfits, okay, before she goes to class. So Blueberry is a sweet and mature girl who enjoys dabbling in silliness. She is, however, a little bit generic according to the wiki, in this generation being shown as agreeable to those around her. In the first cartoon special, she was shown as ditzy and airheaded and very forgetful, but as of late, she's been shown to, or like in the newer generations, I'm assuming, she was the only one who can decipher apple dumplings scribbles. So Blueberry is a sweet and reserved girl who loves taking on projects and hosting events. She's a lover of old houses and plays, and is shown to be the creative and artsy one of the group. She has trouble expressing her feelings, though is still shown to be a very good friend. So Blueberry Muffin actually sounds really cute and adorable. Like I said, I think Orange Blossom is my favorite character. She was not my favorite sim that I made today. We're gonna get to that at the end of the video so y'all can see who my favorite was. But I think for the secret word, I'm just gonna sneak it in and see if anybody's paying attention. I'm going to go ahead and do, I'll just say treat. The secret word for today is gonna be treat. Moving on to Tea Blossom. So I wasn't sure if I was going to include 6 or 7 Sims in this Create a Sim video, but I wanted to make it even for the thumbnail, alright? Tea Blossom, formerly known as Almond Tea during her appearances in the 1980s series, is a character from the franchise, of course. There wasn't really a direct description of her personality. There was just like general information about this character. So in the 1980s, Tea Blossom was one of the many friends that Strawberry Shortcake met when she was traveling the world immediately before the 1983 TV special. As a native of the Orient country, China Cup, Almond Tea returned the favor and visited Strawberry Shortcake to help her with her move into her very happy home with a huge housewarming party. An undiscovered facet of Tea Blossom's personality is that she's stated to possess psychic abilities or powers and was able to on occasion see glimpses into the future. Her pet Marza Panda also had a similar gift in which the powers basically worked in reverse and her pet could only see flashbacks. So they just kind of completed each other. So in 2003, she's Strawberry's friend from China and she stays at Strawberry's house. She's sweet but shy, and at first she has trouble adjusting to Strawberry Land, and the new culture makes her anxious, which it would make anyone anxious if you were to move countries, essentially. She's nervous but tentative, and she was a crybaby and whined a lot in her younger years. She is polite and has good manners. I thought Tea Blossom was so cute. I definitely had to look for a Changsam for Tea Blossom, and when I found it, it was the perfect one. I actually was gonna give up because I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go look for one or just give her Tea Pow instead. But I ended up finding one and it was perfect. As soon as I went to the transporter just to see what it was called, and it was a Changsam, but I just saw that it was kind of shaped a little bit different here. It didn't really have the neck thing and it was much longer. So I was like, that must be it. And it was. The second to last character I'm going to be making today is going to be Lemon Meringue. Lemon Meringue is one of the more popular characters that I know of from Strawberry Shortcake. When she was first introduced or first debuted, she was kind of full of herself, as her first appearance was her praising herself in the mirror. And it turns out it wasn't even actually a mirror, it was just a frame. So she complimented herself and then she went around to the other side and then thanked herself for the compliment. That's basically what she was doing, and also gave herself another compliment. It's also likely that her claims of fame or being famous extend from her narcissism. That is a strong claim. I do not know if this girl was a narcissist. That is what the wiki says, as she didn't appear to be that well known. She's a diva, but very generous and is always ready to help. Despite her ego and sour name, Lemon is still very sweet, quickly befriending Strawberry and helping her throughout her stay in Big Apple City. When Lemon was first introduced, she comes off as sweet and innocent. She's kind and caring to her friends and always tries to work as hard as she can to make others happy with her stylish techniques. She always has fun when she's doing anything related to styling. She likes to chat, you know, have a little bit of gossip here and there, but she never really does dabble in things that could hurt people's feelings, like spreading rumors. She's very into celebrities, obviously, because she claims to be one, but she was also kind of portrayed to be like sort of a dumb blonde, especially in the Sweet Dreams movie. In the movie, she doesn't like getting dirty, and her wish is to be a fairy princess who grants wishes and happiness to all, which sounds very sweet in my opinion. She lets Raspberry boss her around, but they truly are friends and stick together as Raspberry tries to protect Lemon. But yeah, I really love Lemon Meringue's character. I gave her a very much country look, like I live on a farm look, and that was kind of last minute. Okay, that was not my intention at first going into the Creative Sim video or like starting this character, but that's what it ended up being, and I think she still came out really cute.
Happiness and unhappiness are states of mind, and therefore their real causes cannot be found outside the mind.
Hello there, and welcome to the exciting world of PEACHIES.
Last but not least, I'm going to be doing Plum Pudding. Plum Pudding was actually my favorite character that I created today. Orange Blossom was my second favorite, and Lemon Meringue was my third favorite character. Actually, Strawberry Shortcake was my third favorite. But anyway, I digress. Even though Plum Pudding is a minor character, I definitely wanted to make this like a more even Creative Sim, if you will, for the thumbnail and create 7 Sim. If this video does very well, I will be doing a part 2. You know what to do. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. Subscribe to my channel for more, okay? And we're gonna get into the last character. As I was saying before, Plum Pudding is a minor character when she's first introduced, but soon becomes a main character in the franchise. And one more thing, I did not know Plum Pudding was a boy at first, and then Plum Pudding was a girl, and in the newest version Plum Pudding is a boy again. But of course I went based off of what I found first, and that was Plum Pudding in like the 2003 or 7 version, and she's a girl. So that's what I went based off of. So like I said, the first version of Plum Pudding was a male character. He was a scientist, extremely nerdy. She continued to be a nerd into the 2003 version, but was much more clumsy, which is not really good if you're a scientist. You can't really be clumsy, okay? Dropping chemicals and stuff. She was one of the last characters to be introduced in that particular generation, 2003, and only had 4 episodes. And only 2 of those episodes she played an active role. In the 1980s version, Plum Pudding is much more of a nerd look-wise. Plum Pudding is described as a bookworm and a budding scientist, as they are always Strawberry's scientific consultants. She's great with numbers, and Plum's girl version in the 1980s is much more friendly, outgoing, and confident. So in the 2007 version, because I think most of them was 2003, but again, Plum Pudding was a minor character, there's not much of Plum Pudding to be seen. Apparently though, she is an intelligent nerd, but we don't really see any actions of her being a nerd. The first picture that I saw of Plum Pudding was of her dancing, so I assumed she was kind of active and she liked ballet. She looked like she was doing ballet, so that's the look I went for. I gave her a ballet core look, but let's just say she likes to read a lot on the side, and she's actually very nerdy. She likes photography and reading, even though it's not expressed in the show. Let me know how Plum Pudding actually is, because I'm not really sure. She's wimpy, weak, and hesitant, but still tries her hardest to help her friends. She's a bit shy, introverted, and a little bit of a scaredy cat. And one of her flaws is that she tends to doubt herself. She's less useless than she actually believes, and has the capability to be brave. brave, but that's only if she believes in herself. As I said, she does enjoy photography and she wants to be a photographer when she grows up. In the 2009 iteration of Plum Pudding, she is a happy, energetic girl who is very affectionate with her friends. She is kind, eager, and just ready to help anytime she can, even if they're too stubborn to ask for help or insist that they do not need it. She enjoys sports, music, and dancing, which that was the version that I came across first. And thanks to Cherry Jam, she becomes a drummer. So Plum is also known to be silly. She laughs a lot and loves things like being a prankster and telling jokes. She just sounds like a very unserious person in this iteration, I will say, but she doesn't overdo it. If something funny is to happen to her friends, she does try to clear the air with jokes though. You know, kind of, she's like the person who can laugh at herself, doesn't take things too seriously. With all of that being said, she does in fact lack leadership skills and happens to be very competitive. She also panics and gets nervous quickly, suggesting they run instead of facing their fears. And she is also the first to whine in any situation. Thank you guys so much if you have made it this far. If you are unaware, I have another giveaway coming up very soon where you could win either a Sims commission or you can win a Sims game pack, a stuff pack, or a kit. So just make sure you're interacting on my videos throughout the month. I want to thank all of my patrons really quickly for their extra and continuous support. I'm actually surprised that these few people have been supporting me, and I just got a new extra juicy peachy tier member, so I'm really happy for them. I want to thank you guys so much for the extra support. Also, let me know who your favorite character was today. I was going to talk a little bit more about each of the characters as far as what was going on through my head as I created all of them, but like I said, it took me 3 days, so I can't really remember what I was thinking when I was making Strawberry Shortcake because she was the first one I made, okay? But if you guys have any questions regarding why I chose what I did or anything like that, we can talk about it in the comments, okay? So thank you guys so much for watching, and I love you guys so much. Bye.